Gosh, you'd think that going to UC Berkeley and getting a PhD in psychology meant that I had it pretty well figured out, that I didn't have a fear, but I did. I had a fear of speaking, and I got to hide it because I only had to work with one person at a time and didn't have to ever be in front of a group. And when I was in front of a group, it was terrifying, terrifying. But when I was asked to give a speech, the doctor who had invited me to the conference challenged me and said, "Dr. Hamilton, isn't fear your business?" And I felt somebody had pulled the curtain off and exposed my vulnerable parts that I was hiding from everybody. Sure, I had a PhD, I had a clinical practice, but inside I was hiding. I was hiding that I was afraid. So in a way it was, startling for me to feel so exposed, but on the other hand it was the beginning of a journey. I got on the path to, at first I thought it was to overcome my fear of speaking in public, but it turned out to be a whole transformation of self and a growing of my real self. And that's what's led me from the early days of coming to speaking circles, standing up, being afraid, to moving through that and becoming speaking circles training director, to now traveling around the world and teaching people this amazing process. I think what brings people to the circles oftentimes is not only their fear and their terror, but their desire to grow. So both are happening at the same time, that they want to change and they want a safe place to change. And what we do in speaking circles is create an environment where people are listened to very deeply, without expectation and without judgment and without telling them how to do it better. What we do is simply accept people, their essence, their fullness of being, without trying to change them. We let them be, and from there, I think people find a connection to themselves and can grow from there. And what happens in a speaking circle is that the person who is taking a turn is surrounded by open, willing listeners who are beaming a positive regard and support for the person. And by doing that, the person who is receiving that, as the person who takes a turn, begins to realize that the fear is not real, because the people who are there available, giving this kind of support, are not judging. And in being in a process where you are not judged, you begin to feel that what's possible in terms of being in your own body with somebody, and we call that relational presence, where we ask people not to try to be, not to try and do, not to try and achieve anything, but just simply be in the moment with. And we call that relational presence, being with themselves and with another, open to and allowing words if they come through. And in that allowing words, it helps people listen. It's more of a listening than it is a speaking, even though we call it speaking circles. It's really based in listening to the moment, to oneself, listening to the members of the audience or the group listening to you. And it becomes the fullness of listening. I love doing therapy because it is a process where people emerge. But in speaking circles, what's exciting is how quickly the real self will be revealed not only to the group but to the person who's come. And that moment of discovery, that aha, this is who I am and people are seeing me for who I really am, is a transformational moment, I think, for the person who comes, as well as for the group to be able to witness, oh, there's the birth of a human being. How exciting.